live on the air. I'm Richard Saile.
This is wild.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of Lounge Time. I'm your host, Rich Saile, and today, week 2 is nearly in the books. But we've had a massive bunch of headlines, especially one that just came across this morning involving a team. Their star quarterback is expected to miss a good amount of time, which we'll lead into in just a few minutes. We will cover some of the college football action that happened. Notre Dame, 0-2. Can they salvage their season enough to make a college football playoff bid? Or is their season already cooked? Florida 1-2, lost at LSU. When is Billy Napier getting fired? Because it feels like with that schedule of top 15 teams, he's in trouble. We have a lot to get into today. But first I want to open up with news that just came across this morning that I heard late last night. And that is that Joe Burrow will be sidelined for 3 months. He is getting surgery on his turf toe that he suffered yesterday during the Bengals win against the Jaguars right before halftime, and he was not able to return for the game. And the Bengals, they are 2-0, yes, but it comes at a time where you're like, not again. And let me say a quick story real quick. So one of my friends that subscribes to this show, he's not a big sports fan. But he's asking me, he says, Rich, are the Bengals one of your teams that you laugh at that are so bad or that you hate? I'm like, no. I said, if anything, they're a team that a lot of people like. They have great skill position players. They have a great quarterback. They have they have a lot of good of the key needs, right? And the only problem is they just don't have the other half of what you need to be great. Like, they have great skill position players. They have a great quarterback. Their O-line, bottom in the league, and their defense is not usually great. And that's what hurts you as far as being a long-term championship contending team. And I told him, I said, one hit away, and they're in trouble. Well, did I think this would happen to his toe? No, I did not. And I had Joe Burrow in fantasy. So now I'm like, and CJ Stroud I trust to win because CJ Stroud's my backup quarterback in fantasy. Although now I'm going to have to go on the waiver wire. So this is, you can look at this two ways. The first way you could look at it is, it sucks because now I feel like the division, when we look at a microcosm of the division, we're not thinking about the Browns winning the AFC North. They're done. Okay? The Bengals, we were thinking if they could get healthy, if that offensive line could show progress, if that defense could just be better than what it was last year, and Burrow stays healthy. Now we're looking at this completely different, and we're saying, can Jake Browning at least keep them above 500 to make it in time for Joe Burrow to come back to make at least a wild card spot? And that is where I'm like, I don't know. With that offensive line, with just the fact that their division is tough, the Ravens, the Steelers, I don't know. And I think that when you look at all those factors, you go, one could argue their season might be cooked. And it sucks because this team is known for starting off slow. And when you look at the last couple of years, you're like, why can't they get back to the AFC Championship game, or back to the playoffs rather? Well, Joe Burrow banged up twice. 1 year was his thumb. The other year, it was just terrible defense, terrible offensive line. and you think, okay, the one time they look good, they're 2-0. Nope. They can't reverse that. And you really feel for a franchise like this because you're like, you see them one game away from winning the Super Bowl, one game away from us saying, okay, instead of the Rams' historic season, we're talking about a different conversation of, is Joe Burrow the best quarterback in football with Patrick Mahomes before he won the last two? Now we're sitting there saying, well, is Joe Burrow going to be able to regain that top 5 status that he's had? Now, one, we look at the numbers and say, yeah, he's definitely still top 5. But it's not his fault why the Bengals were 8-9. I know some idiots think that it is. And I go, what the fuck are we watching? So, offensive line play is his fault. Consistently, year after year. A terrible defense that he doesn't even play on, giving up touchdowns after touchdowns last season. That's his fault? What the fuck are we looking at here? Oh, but you're supposed to overcome it. Ain't nobody said a thing with Aaron Rodgers on this. Except that, oh, if Aaron Rodgers had Tom Brady's defense, he would have won multiple chips. That's what I heard from people. But we don't say this with Burrow against these other teams. Why? Like, come on now. Why are we doing this? No, that's not right. So one could argue that their season is cooked, and it sucks because they were, for once, 2-0. They weren't starting off really well, and then this happens. Then you can look at the other angle and say this. When Burrow had the thumb injury 2 years ago, who was the backup? Jake Browning. And he's the backup now. And he did pretty solid. And I remember watching him in a few games. I remember watching him against the Chiefs, and I didn't think he played terrible. I thought he played okay. But it wasn't his fault. I mean, there were a couple of games where Jake Browning looked pretty solid as a backup. Don't get me wrong, he's not going to be like a guy that, he's going to take you to the playoffs. No. But the Bengals have pieces that you can do it with. And I say, okay, well, now he's going to be in a bigger, sample size of games where he's going to be there for the next 3 months starting until Joe Burrow gets healthy. And I say, well, the Steelers have seen him. The Ravens have seen tape on him. Are we certain that Jake Browning can get the job done against those teams? And you've got other teams on the schedule that I haven't mentioned that the Bengals will be playing. And I say, that remains to be seen at this moment. And Jake Browning did okay in the time that he played. I mean, he was 21 of 32, 241 yards, 2 touchdowns, 3 picks. So you got to look at that. But he had a rushing touchdown to win the game on a quarterback sneak. I think it was 3rd and goal, 4th and goal. I'm trying to remember. But, Jamar Chase did what he does. 14 for 165 and a touchdown. T. Higgins, 3 for 56 and a touchdown. So, their 2 best players each scored in the end zone. Tinsley, he got in the end zone, right? Their defense, though, and their O-line, you just wonder, are they going to be able to play better with Jake Browning now at the helm and Burrow out? I'm not liking their chances on that regard. But I do think when we saw Jake Browning 2 years ago, he had very good moments where he was solid for them. But is it going to be enough now with a larger sample size, especially now that, okay, you now have to just steer the course, get us above 500, and then when Joe comes back, Joe can get us to the playoffs. I don't know about that. And I really sit there and wonder, it might be something that just, they are very misfortunate over there about how something just bounces against them, right? And you wonder, like, for these franchises that have yet to win a Super Bowl, and the time they get their quarterback, you go, damn. I mean, it's kind of like crazy to think. 4 years ago, when I did Lounge Time, right, Joe Burrow made the Super Bowl. He beat Patrick Mahomes in Arrowhead. He beat the 1 seed Titans. He beat the Raiders in a playoff game. The next year, he beats the Ravens. He beats Josh Allen in his building in Buffalo in a snowstorm and is 1 score away from beating Mahomes again in Arrowhead. And then from that point on, it's gone downhill, and you just go, what happened? Well, the two glaring needs the Bengals just, they try to fix, and they don't do it well, came back and bit him again. And that's the offense and defensive line. Well, really the defense. And again, I don't think even with Burrow out, it's going to solve any of their problems. I think Jake Browning's a good backup. I think he's serviceable. I think he can win some games. But can he win you enough to keep you in the playoff hunt? And then when is Joe Burrow going to come back? If he can come back in the season. I don't know. I wouldn't feel good if I'm a Bengals fan. I'd be like, just sucks. But again, this is a good opportunity for Jake Browning to maybe make a case to teams that I'm more than just a backup. I can be a quality starter. It's going to be tough to do. But again, I have a weird feeling. It's like when I look at Jake Browning, I don't know why, I see shades of Matt Castle where like he has good skill players around him. Right? But we always knew that if Brady was there, they would definitely be a playoff team. Right? There's just that elevation factor that you notice from Castle back to Brady in 09. Now, granted, the wins didn't match up from 08 to 09. You lost a lot of veterans later in that offseason from 08 that eventually got old, retired, right? And then you had a lot of new pieces that were trying to come in and stuff like that. And then you had to figure out, okay, how do we replace those older players with younger players, right? But the Bengals, they have Hendrickson locked up. They have Chase locked up. They have Higgins they gave the franchise tag to. And I think they did come up with a little long-term agreement, right? Burrow got paid. But you have no room to fill what you need in protecting him more with the offensive line. Defense needs more than just Trey Hendrickson. They don't have the room for that. And that's where you go. The window is in very serious jeopardy. And look at Burrow's career, guys. Torn ACL his rookie season. A thumb injury in 23. And now this. A turf toe, but now one that requires toe surgery. You got to feel for them. And I'm one that, I like watching Joe Burrow. He was fun to watch with LSU, and I rooted for them to win, right? And I was really happy that they beat Kansas City in 21. But ever since then, it's just like, damn. You feel for him. You do. As far as just looking at the game Jacksonville did, I mean, Trevor Lawrence, we have to start wondering now if Trevor Lawrence is going to take a step at some point. Or is this just who he is? He's just a quarterback that we thought was a near generational prospect. I look like a fool for saying that he was the best draft prospect I've seen with my own two eyes. And I looked at it like he had size, he had arm, he had smarts, he had accuracy. He even had speed on the quarterback draw against Ohio State 2 years ago. And you've only generated one playoff win. And you just go, are you that franchise elevator or not? And I think now that we are looking at, and we're going to say this is really year 4. You're not it. And I like him. I think he's got tools. But why are those tools not generating? Urban Meyer, okay, we know he screwed up. He was terrible. Doug Peterson, good first year. looking good 3/4 of that second season, and then that last quarter, just everything fell apart. Last season was atrocious. And then Trevor gets hurt. Liam Cohen's brought in to help elevate this Jaguars team. They get Travis Hunter. Trade 2 first-round picks. And you're now looking at Trevor. You going to take that jump? He could still do it. Right now, I'm not seeing enough of it. And that defense was atrocious as usual because, again, yes, they got some guys that are decent players like Tyson Campbell. Travis Hunter got some snaps on defense, right? Hines Allen is a good pass rusher, not great. But the Jaguars, if you can't stop teams, you're in deep trouble. Trevor Lawrence has to do a lot, and he's not living up to that. The Jaguars right now just, and I know people are going to say, well, in your post, Rich, you had them to make it to the playoffs. I did, but again, it is early, but I'm expecting Trevor to take a better jump, and I'm getting a little worried that that defense is going to be their Achilles heel, which I knew, but I thought their defense would be at least competent to at least not be this bad. Well, I'm wrong on that. But again, I'm optimistic the Jaguars offense will figure some things out, but I need to see Trevor play a lot better. And I know he threw the ball 42 times, but you can't. And I saw the exchange between him and Liam Cohen. You knew the cameras would pick up on this. That was not a good look for either one of them. You just don't do that. You don't do that. You don't wave your coach off. You don't show your quarterback up like that. You don't do that. Especially one that's a first-time head coach. I wouldn't do that. That's me. That's me. Let's go to the Bears-Lions, because I actually want to touch on something that I wanted to bring up from Monday night that continued into this game. And then we'll get into what everybody's waiting for, because I had a great weekend. Okay? I know it may not sound like it, but I had to touch the immediate news first. But I did. And we're going to get to some teams that we're going to go through, right? But I wanted to talk about some of the headlines that I feel like we need to start talking about a little bit. Let's go to the Bears, because this is one of my topics that I wanted. I don't know who voted for this on my YouTube post page, but whoever you did, I'm looking out for you, okay? Caleb Williams. I want to talk about this too, actually. Is it his fault the Bears are 0-2? Let's take big sample size, okay? Let's go from the beginning of the Matt Eberflus era in Chicago, fast forward to right now. Let's do that first. You're probably like, Rich, where are you going with this? Well, think about this. The Bears and Justin Fields, they go from one of the worst records to having a top pick in the draft that Carolina uses because they trade 2 first-round picks for Bryce Young because they love Bryce Young out of Alabama. They need a quarterback. Chicago gets capital. So Chicago's got Carolina's next year's first-round pick. This is 23 at this time before 24, okay? Just so I'm reminding my audience where I'm going. The Bears go from 3-14, I want to say, to an 8-8 season, 8-9 season. We're in 17 games now. And they end the season pretty strong with Justin Fields starting. Bryce Young struggles. The Bears have the first pick in 2024 because of Carolina. And because Carolina was awful, they're like, oh, we have the first pick. We take Caleb Williams out of USC. Now, mind you, Caleb Williams won a Heisman at USC. He had flashes of when he was at Oklahoma that he was extremely talented. Lincoln Riley brought him from Oklahoma to USC. But, as is the case with Caleb Williams' resume from college, he sucked against the elite defenses. And I can tell you countless games that I can recall where I go, did you watch that game? Did these draft evaluators evaluate this game? Utah twice. Notre Dame in 24. There were a lot of games. He sucked. He sucked. Okay? Now, Lincoln Riley had a great offensive system with him. But I said, all right, and if he's struggling with Notre Dame's and Utah's and really, really good defensive teams, what is that going to do in the NFL if he hasn't learned from it? And everybody kept telling me, well, he has the most Mahomes-like comp as far as style, sidearm, throwing on the run, which I didn't deny. And I liked him because I was like, okay, he's got tools. But the second element I always say to people, what is he surrounded with when you put him with that team? Who is surrounding him? Coaches, players, organization. You have to factor that in. And Tom Brady made a great point with this on his interview with Colin Cowherd, and I listened to that closely. You put him with Matt Eberflus, who was a shit head coach, who had no business being a head coach, due to no emotion at all. Okay? Ryan Poles, who tried to get him killed because he never believed in drafting an offensive line. And he laughed at somebody that asked him about the offensive line. Does that not alone scream red flags? Kind of does to me. We haven't even got to these games yet, these last two. And I'm already still going on last season. Then you have Shane Waldron, I think, calling plays for Caleb Williams. I might be wrong on this. I might be wrong. I'm sorry if I am. But basically, the Bears' offense was so bad because of their line. They fire their offensive coordinator, and then they fire Matt Eberflus for how he botched the Thanksgiving game at the end of the half. Should have been fired a long time ago before that, but that's that. Then you bring in Ben Johnson, which I thought was a great hire. Offensive mind, okay. Is he teaching Caleb Williams the right information, the right tools that he needs to have in his game to take a jump from year 1 to year 2? And it's like they got receivers. They've got backs. They improved their offensive line by getting Joe Thuney from Kansas City. Their defense got Dennis Allen. Okay, Caleb Williams. Now you got to go do something. Fourth quarter against Minnesota, you didn't. And this game, 19 of 30, 207 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick. And Mr. Laugh at trying to address an offensive line, Ryan Poles, did you watch the game yesterday? How many sacks did your line give up? No, it's not a typo. 4. So, the reason I say, is it all Caleb Williams? Let's think of this for a second. Think of everything I told you guys just now. Is it his fault? Is it the Bears organization's fault? Or is it both? Now, here's where I stand on this. The Bears should have never got rid of Justin Fields. They really shouldn't have. I thought Justin Fields was good. Now, people look at him now with the Jets and they're like, yeah, they made the right call. Did you really? Did you not see Caleb Williams the last, let's go, 19 games? I did. And I have been once thought, you know what? Caleb Williams is that much better than Justin Fields. I've never once think that. One, I don't think the Bears developed Justin Fields that great. And that was when they had Matt Nagy. Chiefs fans, you do know Matt Nagy's your OC, right? I'll get to you in a moment. This is not about you right now. So the Bears muck up how they ruined Justin Fields. You think, oh, Justin Fields can't be fixed. Let's get Matt Eberflus a new quarterback. Because he didn't choose Justin Fields. We'll get him his quarterback and see how he does. No. Wrong. Oh, you know what? Matt Eberflus wasn't the right coach for Caleb Williams. Let's get him Ben Johnson. And right now, it's looking worse. It's looking worse. You are ruining quarterbacks left and right. I mean, guys. I think it's the fact that they're not teaching Caleb Williams what he needs to do. He needs to be more accurate. To me, you can coach that. They're not addressing the offensive line that they need to do. It's funny when your quarterback gets hurt. Ryan Poles, but are you trying to win now? Why didn't you go get Ben Johnson then if you're not trying to win now? Seriously. I'm not even a Bears fan. I'm just calling it what it is. You got all these pieces. You got Dennis Allen to be your DC. You did all this with the draft trade with the Panthers 2 years ago to win now. The results are saying, you know what? You're not winning now. You're still in the rebuild Ferris wheel. When are you getting off that? Now they're going to be looking at this like, well, I don't know if Caleb Williams is the answer. You know what it is? It's an organization's problem. What is Ryan Poles getting fired? He's not a good GM at fixing what is the most important tool to help Caleb Williams, protecting Caleb Williams. You gave up 4 sacks last night with that offensive line. 4 sacks yesterday. Yeah, you can get skill players. It don't mean shit if you can't protect them. It don't mean shit if you can't stop the other team from scoring. Did you guys know? Let's include the fourth quarter of the Vikings game. They've given up 73 points in the last 5 quarters. 73 points in 5 quarters. That's what you gave up. 21, 14, 14, 10, 14. So, the two things you want to be, the two things that I said earlier with Joe Burrow and the Bengals, you need to be competitive to be a long-term contender. The Bears completely laugh it off and go, oh yeah, Rich ain't smart. Well, Ryan Poles, you're stuck on the rebuild Ferris wheel. You have ruined Justin Fields. You are about to ruin Caleb Williams, yet you have paid no price for getting fired. Ownership, you've gone through 3 coaches in the last 5 years. You're getting worse and worse and worse over time. You know why? Your organization's a shit show. You are about to make Caleb Williams look like a bust. Now, I'm not saying it's all on them. Caleb Williams needs to practice the little things in his game. But who's going to make him do those little things? Standing in the pocket. Pocket presence. Accuracy. Okay? Knowing how to deal with the rush. Yes, he's got great tools of knowing how to escape. Let's get some plays to move him out of the pocket. You can't just bring in a coach that's so stubborn about his system and expect a guy that's not really familiar with that kind of system to work with it. That takes a lot of time, and normally that doesn't mesh. How did Russell Wilson do with Nathaniel Hackett years ago? Oh, yeah, I remember. It didn't go well. So really look at this. This is I don't even want to say gut check. This is a punch in the face check for the Bears. What the fuck are you? What are you? You can't throw the ball well because your offensive line sucks. Your running game, you average 5 yards a clip. Swift 12 carries, over 5 yards a carry. See, I ended up getting the end zone. Monangai, 4 yards a carry. Caleb Williams ran 5 times for 27 yards. Ben Johnson, you ran with Montgomery and Gibbs in Detroit. You have backs. You got to help Caleb Williams out. But who is helping him? And Detroit, listen, they balled out. I mean, listen, I knew this was a good bounce back spot for them. I don't have to go into it with them. I have a bigger question of what's going on in Chicago, who I thought would be better than what they were last year. I'm not even certain that's going to happen, but I'm looking at this going, this is an organization problem. And I've always said, if you have bad ownership and a bad organization, you are fucked. Because the same problems keep revolving, and you just go, when is it going to end? Well, it's going to end when you hire the right people, and you have not hired the right people. Now, Ben Johnson, I'm not blaming. I feel for Caleb Williams a little bit because he hasn't done that. But who's going to teach Caleb Williams how to have answers for better defenses? Who's going to do that? And I'm seriously questioning the people around him that are going to be able to do that. That's where I have problems. All right? So that's that. I'm not really going to go into the Lions, though. Let's get to what I want to talk about. Let me get in a better mood because this is a good weekend I had, and I want to be happy. But I address two things that I just, one that make me sad, and then another one where I'm just like, you know what? I may sound like an asshole when I say it, but you know what? Sometimes you got to just call it what it is. Let's let me get happy today, okay? So, as far as a rooting interest went, my Patriots won against Miami. Chief bandwagons, I have a little something for you. I want to do it right now, but you know what? I got a little something for you before I do that. The Giants lose on a heartbreaker to the Cowboys. Yeah, what's funny is two of those teams that lost, they happen to play each other next week on Sunday Night Football. And stay tuned because there's a little something I got for both of those teams that I don't like. Okay? But I want to go to my team. Because, you see, this was, to me, and you have seen me get very visibly frustrated on my New England Patriots the last, we're going to say 3 years. I'm not going to go 3.5 because it was 4 out of 5 games they lost, and then 21, and then the playoff game with Buffalo. Yeah, that was bad. I'm talking 3 years. And I was visibly frustrated last week. Somebody watched Lounge Time and was going, geez, this little kid is actually pretty smart. I'm actually not a little kid. This guy's pretty smart. He's right. We got to incorporate some play action. We got to get Mater roll out. We got to run the ball early. But we got to set up play action. That would be me. That would be me who said it. I said play action, vertical plays down the field. Somebody said it, and that would be me. And I sound like I'm losing my voice because I was going crazy yesterday. I was bothering my poor family friend, Yoham, which I know he's waiting so bad for another topic. I was bothering him before the Chiefs game about this game because I'm like, You cannot start the season 0-2. It is a must. You cannot. Because it would be 2 out of the last 3 years you go 0-2 with losses to Miami in week 2. Okay? You cannot lose to this team, especially with how bad Miami lost. They needed to start fast, which was a big point of emphasis. They did that on the opening drive. And I was going, okay, this is the offense I was waiting to say. Now, I have one question before I go further. Josh McDaniels, where was this last week? You waited a week later to do this. Where was this last week? That's all I want to know. Okay? Now, Drake May, let's be real. He looked a lot better than he did last week. On time, right on the money. Okay, he rolled out a little bit. Okay, there were a couple times where, he got sacked. Okay, but I thought he did very good at taking care of the ball. And I thought he made good decisions. I did. He didn't turn it over. This is what he's doing well that I like. You got him plays that he does well. Okay, and if you do bring in your own system like Josh McDaniels has done, you either have to evolve to what your quarterback has that you can do, that you can put him in the best position to succeed, or you could be stubborn and be like, he's got to learn to my system, and then it doesn't go well. And I was getting mad at Josh because I was like, Josh, get him some plays where he can move out of the pocket. He's got legs. He's got an arm. Put some vertical plays downfield. And they did that. But this wasn't just that they did well. When it got really, really dicey and they needed to have a got-it play, Ramondre Stevenson on that 3rd and 8 on the wheel route up the right sideline. Okay, and after the catch, he set us up for a touchdown late in the 3rd, okay? He did that. 4th down in the game, earlier in the second drive of the game, Stephon Diggs catches, I think it's a spot route. 1st down, keeps the chains moving. And then you have Hunter Henry up the left sideline for a wheel route, okay? I think it was the 1st drive of the game. And then the fade ball to Kayshon Boutte where he went one hand on it, was right under the ground. I was like, yes, you need this. You can't just keep playing underneath and think that this kid can be what Tom Brady was. No. They're 2 different quarterbacks. They're 2 different skill sets. Okay? Josh gave him plays that fit more of what Drake May does well. Take a note, Bears. That's what you need to do with Caleb Williams. That's what you need to do with him. And what he does well. But you also need to coach him on what he doesn't do well. And how do you make him grow in the areas that he's not strong in? Okay? And Drake May wasn't accurate against the Raiders. He was much more accurate this game. He didn't turn it over against Miami. Okay? Now, the defense... Gonzo was out. Keon White was out. I'm not going to say that, that's an excuse. No. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to say this, though. I don't think they play as bad as they do if both of those guys are out there. I don't. But what did step up when they had to have got to have it plays. Miami scores on a punt return. The very next play, Antonio Gibson scores on a kickoff return touchdown. Marte Mapu picks off Tua under 3 minutes to go in the game. And Milton Williams, Mr. 4 years, $104 million. He earned his money with that 4th down sack. When they had to have the gotta have it plays, New England delivered. That is the step that I wanted to see this team do. That they did not do against Vegas when the opportunities were there. When the opportunities were there to make a gotta-have it play, they delivered. That's what I wanted to see this team do. And now, oh God, it feels good saying this. I've been saying it a lot yesterday. Fuck Miami. Fuck Tua. Yeah, where's the Tua curse at? Yeah, what's up? It ain't there. No more. Oh, and by the way, can we take for Tua, rest in piss, please? Because that shit's done. You haven't done shit. And I heard that, tank for Tua in 2019. Yeah, well, rest in piss now for that. Tank for Tua, rest in piss. You haven't done shit. Jack shit. And now, Tyreek's going to get traded. I'll bank this right now. Mike McDaniel did not seem happy in his post-game press conference. What? You better hope that you don't get blown out Thursday against Buffalo. Because at this rate, the way your defense is playing, Josh Allen should light up 50. Yeah. And we know Tua sucks in cold weather games. Except it's not cold weather in September now. Unless there's a snowstorm in September that I don't know about in Buffalo. I don't know the weather forecast yet. But I'm just saying. Mike McDaniel might be done by like week 5 if this team really quit on him. Which all things I'm hearing are that, they're tuning him out. They're not physical. Oh yeah, that's always what they've been. It looks good. The honeymoon phase is over. You are a good offensive coordinator. You are not a head coach. And Tua is not the guy. And I've been saying it for a long time. I'm not going down this road again. But it feels so good to say this too. Did you guys know that the New England Patriots, who have been a top 4 draft pick the last 2 years, have a better record than the Kansas City Chiefs right now as we speak? The New England Patriots have a better record than the Kansas City Chiefs do right now. Oh, man, this is great. This is great. No more Miami House of Horrors. That was a big win. Probably the biggest win since Super Bowl 53, if we're going the last 6-7 years. But this is the biggest win, I think, since the 2021 win at Buffalo when it was insane wind. That was the biggest win in the Patriots' recent era of years since that game in Buffalo in 2021. That was the biggest win. Because a place they've always struggled, they finally overcame and they found ways to do it. And that is why I'm glad I have Mike Vrabel. That's why I'm glad Kraft hired Mike Vrabel. Oh, by the way, Tua, you're no longer undefeated against us, but also Mike Vrabel owns you. Yes! Yes! Fuck Miami! Yeah, I'm saying it on my show. Yeah! Now, to the game of the week. The Eagles beating the Chiefs. Oh, man. Oh, man. Again, you Chiefs bandwagons lose. Wait. Guys. I came up with a new jingle. I was singing to Yoham as he called me yesterday, and I didn't sing it for my friends yet, so all my friends and all my family members watching, all the fans, listen to this jingle that I came up with. 0-2, 0-2, 0-2. Christmas came in September. Where are you at, Chiefs bandwagons? Where are you at? I am still looking for you. Oh, did you guys see on X my latest tweet at Nick Wright? I hope he saw it, because you know how Nick Wright says, never a doubt, and he goes on his little thing about the Chiefs winning and stuff like that and how they look invincible. Did you guys see what I said to Nick Wright after that game? Check out at @LoungeSignPod on X. You got to check out that tweet. Because you know what I said back? And let's see if I can pull it up real quick. I don't know if I have the exact tweet on it, because I don't have it on my laptop, but I'm going to find it for you guys. I'm going to find it, okay? Because I think this is so funny. And of all people, I need the head of the snake, because he's so toxic, okay? He is so toxic, okay? And he really is. He's so toxic. He's so annoying, too. Like, I can't stand him, all right? Bro, and him and his fucking, delusional excuses. I mean, his crash out was absolutely legendary. It was. And then, he goes to Kansas City. He's like, oh, let's do our show from Kansas City. Get the crowd hyped up. Oh, we're not going to go 0-2. I mean, Mahomes, he knows how big this game is. Yeah, I'm sure he does. I'm sure he does. Yeah, I'm sure. Let me pull up the tweet. Because here we go. I'm going to read you the tweet that I have on @LoungeTimePod. Follow me on X. It'd be awesome, guys. Thank you. Never a doubt. 0-2 to start the season. What's the excuses you and the Chiefs Mahomes bandwagons are going to say now? I'll wait. I'm waiting. What's the excuse? And I've heard it's Travis Kelce. Oh, he dropped 2 touchdowns. We would be 2-0 had he caught those passes. Oh, he can't do it without 3 of his top 4 wide receivers. Oh, his offensive line. He's doing this with nothing. You know what? Before I address those, hold on. For all of those Chiefs bandwagons trolls on X that kept bothering me in June and July, where are you at now? Do you need to put your garbage takes in empty garbage pails? I have multiple for you. And I have names. Okay? And I have names on my quote-unquote notes. Like a Christmas list of Chiefs people who annoyingly, appear on my timeline gloating about their team. Hold on, do you need empty trash buckets for your, fringe playoff team hopes? Do you need this for your evaporating Super Bowl chances? Do you need empty trash buckets? Okay, if you don't, are you still crying after your team sucked? Oh, Mahomes threw a game-flipping red zone pick? Oh, do you need tissues to celebrate your first 0-2 season? Do you? Okay. If you do, they're all yours. They're all yours, Chief bandwagons. They're all yours. Okay? Because everybody keeps now saying the excuses I knew you guys were going to do, which you put right. You open the door and I'm walking right through it now. You guys, I knew we're going to do this. You guys completely wanted to say the same bullshit about when Tom Brady had a horrible receiving core in 2019. Oh, why couldn't he do it? Why couldn't he do it with this team? And my response is right now, Tom Brady started out 2019 8-0. And when it came to the great teams, yeah, they got old with their offensive line. And, Bill did not get speedy receivers. Bill didn't draft well. That was what I said. And you could go look at the draft history because none of those draft picks that Bill drafted from 2013 to 2019 made the team really longer. I mean, you had a gem here and there, J.C. Jackson, that did well. I mean, you had free agents that actually ended up helping that year more than the draft guys did. They did. I mean, I'm not going to lie to you. But also before that, Tom Brady did win 3 Super Bowls in a 5-year span and went to 4 AFC Championship games. So that's what he did before this. He won the Super Bowl before 2019 when it just all came down. But also, see, he did this his first year with guys that were not really bona fide number 1 receivers. His first year. And went to the Super Bowl. And then in 2003 and 2004, people said, well, it was the defense. Well, this is what you guys are saying about Mahomes right now. This is what you're saying right now. Are you not? We kept trying to tell you he's below average. You guys refused to accept this. But in 03-04, Brady does well with a great defense, and people say, oh, well, it's all about the defense. Well, Brady led a game-winning drive against the Rams in 0-1, in 0-3 against Carolina, and he threw 3 touchdowns against the Eagles in the Super Bowl. Well, at least 2. I think Corey Dillon ran the other one. I'm wrong. But still, he did that. Mahomes, it took 1 quarter against the Niners. It took a Jalen Hurts fumble. And yes, Mahomes played well in the second half of that first Eagles Super Bowl. He did. But it took a fumble on Jalen Hurts that Nick Bolton ran back and scored. That was actually a key play in the game. And it came to a phantom holding call on James Bradbury, which, shocker, they called it. Okay? And that's what started this. Okay, and then let's fast forward to 06. So you bandwagons, you now are going to claim he hasn't won with 3 of his top 4 receivers out. Do you remember 2006 Chiefs bandwagons? I don't think any of you do. Troy Brown was old. Deion Branch went to the Seahawks. David Gibbons left for the Titans. He had Jabbar Gaffney, Rashae Caldwell, who got cut the next year. Jabbar Gaffney was a number 4 receiver in 07. Ben Watson, who was no scrub, he could play. Corey Dillon was basically on the downswing. Lawrence Maroney started becoming a number 1 back over him. And they were 1 drive away from beating the Colts in 06, from going to another Super Bowl. Okay? But here's the thing also. Brady never missed the playoffs from 03 to 22, if you exclude his 2008 season when he got hurt. If you exclude that, he never missed the playoffs. He never did. Okay? And let me give you another fact, Chiefs bandwagons. Since he became a full-time starter, Tom Brady never started a season 0-2. He never did. Your guy started 0-2 this first time, and it took him a long time. Yeah, that happened. But also, you're gonna say, "Oh well, Mahomes he's doing it all by himself. I mean, he's got no help." Nobody said this at all with Tom Brady. But what did Tom Brady do? He just went out and did it. 2018, 1-2, looked awful against the Lions and Jaguars back-to-back weeks. What does he do? He wins the Super Bowl that year. 2013, when Welker, Aaron Hernandez, Gronk missed 6 games. Well, Welker went to Denver. Okay, Brandon Lloyd gone. What did Tom Brady do in 2013? When everybody thought, oh, this is the year, this is over. He went to the AFC Championship game and lost at Denver. Started out a season 5-0, mind you. 5-0. Well, 4-0. But nearly 5-0. Okay? That happened. That happened. Okay? And now Mahomes has Tyquan Thornton, who was garbage on my team. And, you know, he has Hollywood Brown, who was a big play guy for the Ravens. Played for the Cardinals a little bit. He was their number 1. He's solid. But if you know, you guys kept telling me, well, Juju was his number 1 wide receiver. Okay, but Hollywood Brown's not an upgrade over Juju? Really? Did you guys not see Juju with us in 23 and 24? Oh, you didn't. Well, why is Hollywood Brown not an upgrade then? You tell me. Oh, now you guys want to start using the offensive line excuse since the Super Bowl. Oh, did you guys know that Tom Brady had one of the bottom 5 offensive line units in 2014. What did Tom Brady do in that 2014? Oh, yeah. That was the game you all declared him basically washed and done. He went to win the Super Bowl in 2014 with a horrible offensive line that year. Yeah, and you didn't notice that. Why? Because he came back down 10 against Legion of Boom and won. Yeah, remind me of that. Okay. So, you Chief bandwagons want to blame Travis Kelce for dropping passes. You do know Mahomes had 117 passing yards before the Tyquan Thornton deep ball touchdown, right? Oh, but he had 60 rushing yards, Rich. He's doing it all by himself. What about the fact that you scored 10 points and you basically threw the game-deciding flip play to lose you the game? You want to talk about that? Because that happened. Makumba had a huge game. Sacked Mahomes early in the first half on a blitz where he didn't even see him. Oh! He picked off Mahomes, ran it back to nearly about the 50-yard line, and what did the Eagles do? Oh, yeah, they scored 7. So, what could have been 6 or 7 your way, 14-point swing. I was once upon a time told this guy can do no wrong. And now, your schedule is not going to get friendlier. Oh, no, no, no. You play the Ravens at home in 2 weeks. Now, you own Lamar. You should win that. You play the Lions, which, honestly, I'm not going to make too big deal about the Lions winning against the Bears. That's the Bears for a reason. Commanders didn't look impressive against the Packers. And then you play at Buffalo. Oh, wait. In the regular season, Josh Allen owns you. Yeah, I forgot. Nah, he ain't winning that one. And then get this. The Chargers got you once. Pete Carroll with Vegas, we're going to see tonight how they look against the Chargers. Denver should have beat your asses last year. Oh, but then guess what's funnier? You guys want to complain, oh, why aren't the refs calling a false start on the tush push? The guy was clearly a false start. It's the most unstoppable play. I mean, how do you not see the false start? Tom Brady should be calling it out. Oh, but you don't want us getting on you when we say, oh, how come you get every call? But that's fine to you. But apparently when you guys are complaining about the tush push because you guys couldn't stop it, wasn't the game clinching play on a tush push? Yes, it was. Twice. They ran it back to back and they said, you have to stop us. And you haven't stopped it. And now you want to act like you want to ban it. It's the most unfair play in football. Well, stop them. Tampa Bay did it 2 years ago in a playoff game. They did. Oh, but it's unfair to you. How about it's unfair that you got every call that went your way last year, but you don't ever want to admit it? Look at Bengals game. Oh, but that's a clean PR. That's a clear pass interference. What's he supposed to do? Atlanta, you're going to tell me that was fair? Oh, okay. No, it wasn't. No. The double doink was a coincidence. The Raiders, when they were driving for field goal, that's lucky. Denver, a blocked field goal. Like, we knew how to get by. Oh, really? Josh Allen, was that not a first down that should have been? And that game completely stops you probably from going to 3 straight Super Bowls? Oh, but you want to bring that up. Oh, okay. So, again, when it's your team, you don't want to bring up that nothing was unfair when you won. But now that you lost twice to the same team in 3 games, the excuses are piling on from Lance the Spokens, Brad Henson Productions, okay. Yeah, I got names. Chiefs bandwagons. I've got names. What's the excuse now? Oh, and then what's funny was Chris Jones is saying to Jalen Hurts, You barely got 100 yards passing. And Jalen Hurts is like, shut your ass up, bro. And I won't say what he actually said, but I was like, wow. Chris Jones is really crying that he fucking is 0-2 and he's getting mad. And Travis Kelce's like, I'm sick of this shit. Well, Kelce, you know what you should have did, bro? You should have just took your engagement and rode off into the sunset. You should have did that. But you know why I knew you were going to come back? Because I knew you weren't going to go out like that. Well, you ain't looking like yourself these first 2 weeks, although you had a couple plays here and there that were, you know, lightning in a pan, but no. The excuses. That's all I'm hearing, guys, on X. I really, really don't care. You're 0-2. Christmas came in September. I just want to know where you bandwagons at. You have yet to give me a legitimate excuse. And then when you try to use one on me, I'm not going to buy it. You know why? Because you're gonna try to make excuses for him not playing well. Mahomes, you know what, Nick Wright? You know what? You got mad about Mahomes not being a top 5 quarterback from Colin Cowherd's list. He hasn't looked like one through 2 weeks. He hasn't even remotely looked like a top 10 QB. And you bandwagons want to say, well, he's doing this all by himself. What does the eye test tell you? He's not playing well at all. No, he's not playing well at all. I mean, you should have lost 20-10. It was a heave to Tyquan Thornton in garbage time that sealed the game. That was an empty calories throw, Shannon Sharp likes to call it. But you know what, bandwagons? Just let me know. Do you want tissues? Do you want empty trash buckets? I mean, just let me know. Let me know what you need to kind of cope your excuses, because I'm not buying none of it. Okay, your reign of dominance, is over. It's done. Okay, I will be ready with the brooms and the trash bags. Okay, I will be ready in January when your asses are gone from the playoffs. And we finally get somebody that we need to talk about more. Hopefully Josh Allen or Lamar breaks through. I mean, again, hell, the Chargers beat you. Maybe Justin Herbert finally overcomes his playoff troubles and gets a win with Jim Harbaugh. But you're done. You're done. You are in the face of being maybe a 10-7 team at best, which is like, well, we never have down years. Yeah, well, good luck. You're going to have one. So I say to you, get used to it. Oh, but we're going to get Tyreek Hill and we're going to be fine. Okay. Then if you get Tyreek Hill, I don't want to hear excuses then about you guys having no one to throw to. No. I don't want to hear it. So, you know what? The excuses, they're old to me. They're old. Okay, and this notion of Mahomes Brady GOAT talk, I told you guys after the show where I had him right here. I had him right here. I said, I'm not going to talk about this anymore. I already outlined my case. I'm doing it again now. I'm shutting it down. I don't even want to hear it. Tom Brady never went 0-2 as a full-time starter through his first 2 games in any season in his career. Mahomes finally took 7 years to do it. Rest my case. So, anyway, I know I've been going on a lot. There was a lot I wanted to talk about today. Now, college football, I'm going to go briefly with this because I know I've been taking a lot of time on this. So, Tennessee, Georgia, I watched, and Joey Aguilar, he looked solid. And then all of a sudden, Georgia became stubborn running the ball, and Tennessee, as they usually are, no defense. Can't stop Georgia, whether it's through the air, whether it's on the run. And the kicker, I mean, unfortunately, you feel bad for these kickers that miss kicks in college because you're like, how in the world did they go back to campus the next day? And well, Josh Heupel, he had chances to put the game away, and he didn't do that. And I know Josh Heupel's a good coach, but you haven't beat Georgia in 10 years since Kirby got there. I like Heupel, but your defenses are always bad there. And yeah, you have good offenses and stuff, but if you can't stop anybody in the SEC and you didn't stop Ohio State in the playoff, I mean, how is it not fair to say that Heupel should be on the hot seat? I'm just saying. Georgia, again, I don't think they looked too impressive. I know people are going to say, well, they are their top 5 team. My definition of top 5, I don't have them up there right now. I don't. I'll tell you my top 5 right now. Ohio State, Penn State, LSU, Miami, Oregon. There are probably other teams I didn't mention. Those are my 5. Clear 5 over them. Clear 5. I mean, Georgia struggled with Austin P and Marshall. Those 5, to me, have played all better than Georgia right now. And that's not to say Georgia won't be the top 5. They got Alabama in 2 weeks. But Kirby can't beat Bama. Oregon and Penn State play each other in 2 weeks also in Penn State. But again, you're asking me my top 5. Georgia's not a top 5 team right now. Because I don't think they looked impressive that much. They did. They looked impressive against Tennessee when they had to make plays, yeah, but overall, no. And the fact that Tennessee, Brandon Walker had him top 10, no, I'm sorry, no. Heupel blew that game. A&M Notre Dame I watched a little bit. I did not know A&M's offense was that explosive. Marcel Reed, I noticed a jump in his game. I mean, he was a pure runner the first year with him, but they are letting him throw the ball deep. And he made some throws where I was like, wow. Okay, he looks like he took a big jump. Their offense is explosive. They got speedy receivers. So, again, they got some dudes. And then defensively, they've got a couple names like Cassius Howell, who's a good pass rusher. Okay, I think their defense is a little suspect, which could hurt them, but they are going to be a tough offense to kind of slow down, especially when you get into conference play, which Mike Elko's team, again, they were top 10 once upon a time, and they started out hot, and then they faded late. I don't want to get too bullish on A&M. I don't, but it was a good win at Notre Dame. Now, is Notre Dame cooked after going 0-2? I think they're going to have to win out to even have a shot at the playoff. I really do. Because I think if in a perfect world, Notre Dame went 10-2, and your only losses are to A&M on a play with less than 15 seconds roughly, and Miami. And Miami might be winning the ACC at this rate. I would say, arguably, if Notre Dame plays really well at the end of the year, and I'm talking they're clicking on both offense and defense, and it's those 2 losses, I would argue that they still have an outside shot to make the playoff. However, it depends on how well they play through the rest of the season. Because you cannot, if you lose a game, then it's over. But if you win out and you look impressively dominant in that stretch, you might get in. You might. But you also have to factor in, if Miami wins the ACC and you lose by 3 in Miami, that's a good loss. If A&M somehow gets to be a top 12 team, that helps your cause. But it's going to be hard to do that. Because, again, you play USC at home. Rivalry game. Arkansas is in the SEC. Boise doesn't look great now. I'm trying to think other teams that they have notably on their schedule. But what I'm trying to say is that you've got to win out. You've got to win out. You've got to go dominate now. And CJ Carr, I think he's been good. But the big story is Notre Dame's defense doesn't look great. And I think that's what's hurt them. And I think their defense needs to play a lot better first. And I think they have to be able to get their offense to, help CJ Carr not be the guy yet. They have Jeremiah Love back there. He's got to be the dude. But they got to win up front. Offensive line's got to be more physical, which was a concern for them going into the year. And their defense, mainly their secondary, is having a lot of breakdowns where they need to get their act together if they're going to even make a run. But they have to win out. But do I think they will? It's looking very slim. I think they are in trouble. But they're going to have to win out. But the good news is a lot of these big boys will play each other when they get the conference play, which will help the cause. Georgia Tech. I called it. I tweeted it. I had the wrong score. Georgia Tech is becoming a team on this show that I've said that, you know what? They're not a bad team. They're better than people think. They beat Colorado in Colorado. They won, obviously, the game after that. And they won against Clemson. And I said, this is not a bad team. Haynes King is a good quarterback. Can he make the throws? And Georgia Tech, I think, is going to make a run at the ACC. The ACC, Clemson, I look like an idiot picking them to win the national championship preseason. I look like an idiot. Dabo is in trouble now. Because now the talk of when he loses is, oh, he's not evolving in college football. Oh, but they don't have the NIL resources. Well, you got to adapt. You got to adapt. And that offense has not looked great. Their defense is disappointed. And again, it's a gut check time now. You got to find a way to get this right. Because the ACC, Florida State has a win over Alabama. Looks impressive. Georgia Tech, Colorado, and Clemson. Key wins early. Miami looks impressive. They just dominated South Florida, the Cinderella team from the group of 5. And then that bid got halted for now. So, again, what the ACC is looking better outside of Clemson. It is. So now it's, okay, well, who's that team? Well, Clemson, you're behind the 8 ball. And I'm not going to rule out Louisville. Louisville is not a bad team under Jeff Brom. SMU made the playoff last year. They beat Baylor recently in overtime. So that's briefly what I'm going to touch on for college football because, again, there's a lot of big games coming up in the next 2 weeks. And I'm going to get into that really on Thursday when I'm picking, okay? But this is a big analysis week, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. I know it wasn't mostly based on games. Now, the last thing I'm going to do is, Rich, who is your teams to beat right now through 2 weeks? I'm not going to spend too much time on this because I think the 3 best teams, and this is in this order, to me, that can win the Super Bowl right now. And I know it's going to change when we get to week 12 and stuff like that. The 3 best teams right now in the league, right now, in this order, are the Packers, the Bills, and the Eagles. That could change depending on tonight. But Green Bay looks great. Both sides of the ball, they look like the most complete team right now through 2 weeks. And they're the team to beat right now. They are going to be the NFC favorite that I think is going to probably represent the NFC in the Super Bowl. They just look potent. They do. That Parsons trade made them so much better. The Bills, Josh Allen is the man right now. Debatably QB1 in the league. And he looked all right against the Jets, but again, in Jets, it just seems to be a game where he doesn't perform that great. And again, he still won. And that schedule is going to get a little favorable for him to start. And it's one of the favorable schedules for them. So Josh Allen, he's on a mission. He's the best quarterback right now in football. But again, Green Bay is the best team, I think, right now through 2 weeks. And then the Eagles. You can't disrespect them. They've won the Super Bowl. They've won to 2 of the last 3. They may not be clicking on offense, but if any team could figure it out and has gone through this slow start before and that can figure it out in midseason into November and December, it's them. They have the line from last year. Offensively, their defense is still really good. And they just beat the AFC champs in Arrowhead, okay? They've beaten the Chiefs twice, counting the Super Bowl, and now Arrowhead. Okay, Sirianni, I got a cool nickname for him, and I don't know if, and I don't want this to be taken as a slight. Shit-talking Sirianni. Okay, I see him, shit-talking Chiefs fans 2 years ago in that Monday night game at Arrowhead, okay? He has that little, smugness to him. I remember the playoff against the Giants where, he's up and down that sideline, and he's got that little, smug thing to him. shit talking Sirianni, smoke face Sirianni, he's got that about him where, you know what? Listen, you can hate him, but the dude wins. He just wins. And you know what? He took a lot of heat last year. All he's done is win since. You can't knock him. But those would be my three. And then I think, again, as the season goes on, teams might add to the list. Some teams, I always say, that start out small, start out great, and then they fade. Some teams start out slow, and then we're like, oh, this team came out of nowhere. We got a lot of football left. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in the live time. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure you guys hit that like button, that subscribe button, that notification bell, so that way you guys can get all of the latest content needed for this season. We will be back on Thursday with College Football Week 4 picks, NFL Week 3 picks. We have a lot to go through. And yes, Survivor, 3 for 3. We're back for Week 3, all right? Back aboard the SS Saile once again to pick Survivor Week 3. And that's enough of the analysis for NFL Week 2, College Football Week 3. You also can follow us on Rumble. Yes, Lounge Time is on Rumble. Sorry I was late on the episode Saturday, but I got it up. So this one will also go later today on Rumble. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in to Lounge Time. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'll see you guys on Thursday to talk NFL Week 3 and College Football Week 4, survivors, and guarantees. Enjoy the Monday Night Football doubleheader. I'll see you guys on Thursday. Have a great night, everybody.